Welcome to Business Prowess with Rafael and Dr. Andrea. Our show will bring you the best insights, ideas, and inspiration from successful entrepreneurs and CEOs in the business world. Don't miss out on the opportunity to learn from the best and stay ahead of the game. Sifu Rafael is the founder of 5 unique shows. He's a fitness professional, solutions expert, executive coach, and head instructor at Max Martial Arts and Fitness in New York. Dr. Andrea Adams-Miller is an award-winning international keynote speaker, best-selling author, and CEO of the Red Carpet Connection Publicity, Publishing, and Talent Agency, and CEO of IgniteYourRelationship.com. Known as the Dream Maker, she makes visionaries' dreams come true, bigger than they ever dare to desire.
Wow, good morning. I got to tell you, Dr. Andrea is not only the most beautiful person I've met in person, but we always had this incredible show here together. And guess what? I got to meet her. And here she is. Dr. Andrea, how are you? It was incredible meeting you. Oh, can't hear you.
I know, it's so funny, like when you've had a relationship with people online and then you have this pleasurable opportunity to meet them in person. And even more so, we got to see each other on stage and watch each other interact with other people. And I got to hear Sifu Rafael's entire, well, not entire story, but a snapshot into his life and his story that I never knew. And so what a wonderful new understanding and appreciation of why everything he does is so important to him. So very, very impactful. And by the way, we're referring to watching each other at the Connected Leaders Academy Global Summit this last weekend, where he was a sponsor and a speaker, and I was the coordinator, at co-MC, and what else? I did the women's panel, and I also ended up being a photographer. So I was everything.
You did. You wore so many hats. I was wondering, how are they all staying up there? But one of the greatest things that for me was that I got to meet our next guest as well. So
she's adorable.
Tell you, her last name tells you everything. She is a killer. She is amazing. Let's go ahead and bring Michelle Lee Murder. How are you?
I am fantastic, and I'm so honored to be here with you, Sifu Rafael and Dr. Andrea. So thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, so we are going to take it to the bank. I mean, what does that mean?
Oh my gosh, we're going to unlock the secret to sales and relationships so you can take it to the bank.
What? No, wait a minute. I even have a book here that I picked up, and it's Why They Buy Bank. Look at that. What? We all have this.
Backwards. Oh, I'm upside down too.
It doesn't matter which way you read it. It's
well, you know what? You
incredible.
can turn your world upside down with bank. How about that?
That would be fantastic.
Yes.
Love it.
So give us a little recap of what we need to know.
Okay, so one of the biggest problems that sales professionals, entrepreneurs, and people have is that they're working on learning how to sell. But the biggest question, the only question that really matters, is why do people buy? So Sherry Tree, the one who created this methodology, she actually reverse engineered personality science, and she cracked the code on why people buy.
Love it.
It's incredible when we can start to understand the code, because so many people, including myself, we kind of do things in a certain way, but sometimes we don't even know why we do things. But now when we crack even our own code, what? That is incredible. Michelle, thank you for helping us to uncover that. And what can I say? I was blown away this weekend. It truly was.
Well, and you mentioned it, like unlocking what our code is. Every single person has like a 4-digit code, and we call it the bank code. And that first step is self-awareness. How am I showing up to the world? That's when everything shifts. And that unlocks, the first thing it did for me was it told me I wasn't broken. because we all do things based on our core values. That's what drives us to do the things we do and show up the way we do. The secret is that not everybody is wired the same way as us.
Even twins.
Exactly. And, you know, it's funny because Esther, she actually, which is Sherry's partner, wife, she actually is a twin. And they both have completely different personalities. And when she unlocked that, it opened up a whole new world for their relationship.
Nice.
I could see where that would, give you a possibility of understanding a person that you thought you knew, especially when you're a twin. I know that in the short time that I've been conversing with you, Michelle, we've been able to talk about different relationships. And I almost feel like little girls and little boys should be giving the codes that are designed for children. So that way, when they're playing with their Barbie dolls and their GI Joes and their little cars and whatever, that they have how their toys would talk to each other would help them create a catalyst or a foundation for how they would be able to communicate more effectively in their futures.
Well, absolutely. And, you know, I came into this program because it's the only methodology in the world that's scientifically validated to predict buying behavior in less than 90 seconds. When I heard that, and I heard Sherry's first presentation, I was like, I need this because I'm struggling in my business. So I came in for sales, which a lot of people do. However, my first day through the coaching program and the training, I realized that for 18 years, I was parenting the child that I thought I had and not the child I actually had. So if I would have had this available to me when both my kids were little, it would have been a game changer. Like being able to look at, like, we have 4 cards, they have values on them. When you can unlock somebody's core values and understand what's important to them, that's when the world opens up and everybody can come together and stop judging and start loving more. It does increase business exponentially. It gave me the ability to grow my business from 0 to over $2 million in less than 3 years. But what's priceless is what it did for me and my kids and my family.
Incredible. And did you say cards? What did you?
I did say cards. We have cards. Yes.
You know, I think that we all have this code and it's on us, right? But we don't always can read other people's codes. And this is why I love B.A.N.K, because within a few seconds, probably in 90 seconds, if you share the cards and have people understand, I did it with somebody who works for me, and I knew their code before I said, do me a favor, take this and just put them in. And they were like, well, can I do it like this? I said, you do it any which way you like. And they're very technical. So I knew that already. And they had to lay them out. They had to look at them. They had to analyze it. And I said, don't overthink it. And then they laid them out, and it's exactly what I already knew about them. But then, then they're like, well, some of them are hell no. And I'm like, perfect. I said, take all the hell no's that are most and put them at the end. And then they took a little while, but then they did it because they had to analyze it for themselves. And it allowed them, I said, well, this is the kind of person you are. Well, I already know that. I said, okay, great. This is who I am. They're like, well, I kind of knew that already. I'm like, cool. I said, so see, this is how we need to understand each other better. And because I understand them, that's why they're able to work for me. If I didn't understand them, I don't think that we would be able to have that relationship.
Absolutely. So why don't we give them a little rundown of what these codes mean?
Absolutely. And I need to reach and get mine. They're out of arm's reach.
Okay. So B.A.N.K is an acronym for the 4 personality types. You have someone who's blueprint, think of it inside the box. They need things like structure, stability, systems, planning. They may have their whole week, month, year planned out. They're the ones who require that RSVP. And if it's late, they are not happy. They don't like surprises, and they show up 20 to 30 minutes early for a meeting, or on Zoom, 5 to 10, right? So they are a colder code. And when you look at them, everything's predictable. They want predictable results. When you look at the action personality, we're the movers, the shakers, the millionaire makers. Woo, 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 woo. We're like little firecrackers in your hands, right?
That's right.
Freedom and flexibility and spontaneity and action. And we drive fast. We talk fast. We act fast. We make decisions fast. We are the easiest to close if you're in action. We got to feel it. Get to the bottom line. Like, what's in it for us? Show me the money. Right? Quick. We want things quick. We don't want all the details. We show up late to the party. Why? Because the party doesn't start till we get there. Then we have the nurturing. Little heart. Think of sweet like honey. They recycled the box. They baked a pie. They put it inside, wrapped it up in a little bow, and they gave it away. They're all about relationships and teamwork and authenticity, personal growth. They really want to connect with you and find out about you, your family, your friends, your dogs, your pets. And then we have the knowledge. They're also a colder code. They're like, without me, you wouldn't even have a box. I engineered the box. Science, data, research, logic. It has to make sense. They're going to ask you a ton of questions. The key is that there are 24 different ways that these codes can show up. Which means that in the sales process, you have a 1 in 24 shot when you go out there and you talk to people, which is why people say sales is a numbers game, because mathematically it is. But the secret is, ready, lean in, lean in. It's not a numbers game. Wow. Sales is a people game. It's about people. It's about connecting, truly connecting to that person and understanding what's important to them. And that's why in life and in business, it's all about relationships. If I could parent the wrong child for 18 years when I poured every ounce and soul of me into them, how can you make a relationship with another human being in a matter of minutes or weeks or months?
When you, when she first was talking to me about how these codes work and play together, so I'm going to hold mine up so that I can make mine dance and play. So I'm going to hold up them just so you see the backs right now. So my husband is a P, or excuse me, we say P here because we don't want to accidentally offend our in the house and say you're being a B, you're being a blueprint. So we've been saying BP here in the house. It's not taken out of context. Although BPs can be a real B sometimes because
there's a dark side. There's a dark side to everything.
Yeah. And then you put that with a person who's so here's my husband's top two. Here's my top two. Clash, 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 clash.
Absolutely. So that's what's interesting because Dr. Andrea, my son, is blueprint knowledge and then nurturing action. So action is his last. Mm-hmm. So I would literally run him. We would go to the toy store. I'm like, we're going to the toy store. I'd run through the door, playing with all the toys, riding around on a little bike, shooting hoops, doing all the things. And he was literally in tears. And I would chalk it up to he's hungry, he's tired, like we're never coming back to the toy store again, right? Mm-hmm. I ran over every one of his core values before we even got to the door. And then his second code is knowledge. So he's sitting in the head codes where he's colder. And I'm sitting in these two codes, action, nurturing. So I'm emotional and he's more in the head. So I would go to hug him and he would freak out and I would blame it on me. Like, what did I do wrong as a parent? Why don't you love me? Every code loves differently. They all want different types of gifts. And all 4 pieces of the code matters. Because your first code is where you're your happiest, where you're hanging out. Your second code is a big piece of you or who you aspire to be. And that third position typically represents you under stress. And the fourth position is typically what you stay away from.
Yeah. So very helpful. And so I also want to help people with this. So what I've heard is some people are like, well, oh, so you're all about sales. No, not at all. Because I am in a relationship. I've had a relationship business for 30 years. In relationships, we learn as children, we are constantly selling. You're selling yourself. You're selling the birthday party you want to go to. You're selling your partner on whether you should get married or not, or whether you should date or not, or whether you should be intimate or not. You're selling whether you should have your business partner should be your business partner or not. We are constantly selling our whole life. If it's only selling ourselves or selling that we fit in, or enrolling people, I like to call it enrolling people to do things with us. I mean, if you're going to go out and hang out with your friends and you pick a movie, you need to enroll them on why they want to come see the movie that you want to see.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, even if you look at your kids, if you want your kids to eat broccoli over a cookie, you're selling to them. But the magic and what I love about this is giving people, every single human, the ability to be seen, heard, and understood and have a voice.
Absolutely.
And also, you want to match people where they are. So understanding, why when I show up in stress, I show up here in K, right? I don't want to be around people. I don't want to talk to people. I certainly don't want anyone to give me a hug. And now that my husband knows that, and I understand how he shows up when he's not in his happiest place, that takes your relationship to another whole new level, because now you understand what that person needs 100% of the time.
You just said something very powerful. Your husband understands that when you're in that state that you don't want hugs, but a lot of people, what they'll do is they'll say, well, you need a hug anyway, and they force it on you, and it makes it worse.
Yes.
And you get this resentment. And I believe that probably that's one of the reasons that so many people get into divorce, because initially they were aligned. They're like, oh, you like excitement, I like structure. Oh, I like the way you do things, and I like the way you do things. But then when they settle into the relationship, I think that's where there's so much drama that doesn't need to be. It's more of an understanding. So one of the things that we keep holding up these cards, we talk about the cards, but then people who are watching us either on the replay or even now, like, I want a pair of those cards. How do I get a pair? Well, what we could do is we can set you up with a virtual pair. Who'd like that? Raise your hand. Raise your hand who'd like a virtual pair right now. So I'm going to share with you an easy way for you to go get a virtual. And it's really easy, bit.ly, and then /Sifu code. And you can go and check it out. And you can even see how you assess. And Michelle, you talked about how this is not free, but we're giving it away for free. Would you mind telling us how we're giving that away?
Yes. So anybody who goes to that link will be able to crack their own code, and they'll be able to get a free report that will tell them all about themselves. So it's beautiful, because that first piece is self-awareness. And Sifu Rafael, if they want a set of these cards, they can reach out to you, and you can hook them up with those too. And we'll talk about that too.
We got you covered. We have you covered. So when it comes to knowing thyself, if you will, how does that really help you negotiate your day?
Well, you know where your strengths are, you know where your challenges are. And you understand, like for me, right? I'm action, nurturing, knowledge, blueprint. I stay away from structures and systems. I don't like to feel like I'm inside the box. So I know that that's my weakness. So I need to tap into that, because I need that piece of me. We're all made beautifully, and we all have all of these in us. So think of them as tools. So what do we need to pull out today? I'm the type of person, if I want to hang a picture, I'm going to grab whatever's on my desk instead of going to the garage and getting a hammer, even though I know that's the best tool. So when you start your conversations, or even how you're laying out your day, if you understand how you're showing up and you look at them as tools, you can say, what tool do I need right now? If you show up and you're talking to someone who's wired differently, What tool do I need to tap into so that I can help this person more, serve this person more?
So if I'm going into a meeting, and I need to be able to understand if it's a single person meeting or if it's a group meeting. Do I need to do my homework a little bit, or
Oh,
do I walk into the room and just try to assess it?
no, so assessing it is just guessing, and we're not about guessing. So the best way is to have people crack their codes. That's the best way to do it. I bring my cards everywhere. I actually went to a networking group the other day and I lost 15 sets of cards or 20 sets of cards because everybody took them. So hang on to your cards. I'm going to tell you that. So that's the best way. But if you don't have that opportunity to crack their codes first, you want to speak to them in all 4 languages. So think of these as all different languages. So if you go in, you're going to, just like when we ask people to crack their code, we say, do me a favor. Oh, wait, sorry. Look at the information on the card. That's knowledge. They want to analyze. They want the information. Sort them in order from most like you on top to least like you on the bottom. That's blueprint. They want a process. They want a system. You'll actually see them sort the cards. They may line them up so they're perfectly straight. This will help me serve you better or get to know you better. That's nurturing. They want to connect to your heart and save us both a lot of time. There's your action. Right? So we have, even when you're speaking at an event, if you're going to do when you open, when you close, all of that, all of those pieces need to have all 4 of those codes in them if you're speaking to many. And you can actually do like a 4-part close where you speak to each one of these different codes individually. Super cool.
That is very cool. That's very cool. Have you ever had someone not want to take that assessment?
Well, the assessment only takes 90 seconds. And to answer your question, which is an awesome question, yes, but very rarely. And when they do hesitate, I already know what code they are.
They're already telling your story.
Yeah, so there's 2 codes that would be skeptical or be reluctant to crack their code, and that would be your B's in your K's.
Mm-hmm. So
Absolutely.
if you guys are okay with it, I'm going to be very vulnerable and tell you my code and explain how I operate. And I'm doing this just so that people can see what I have learned about. So there are ways that I process things and I never realized why I did them. And now I know. So I first care about people. I am a people person. I've won the Heart of Gold Award years ago. It was voted by 450 of my closest peers and friends. And I wear that award like a badge of honor. Okay. So people, people, people. And I take action. They used to call me the red marketing assassin, and that's why I wear red every day of my life. I'm living red. It's called relevance, enthusiasm, and delivery. Do it, do it, do it. Okay. So love on people and got to do something with them. And then I ask a lot of questions. I love research and knowledge and information. And then if I have to, and only if I have to, will I put things in order or make things or make rules, which is funny because I came from law enforcement, but I always knew in law enforcement, there was a loophole to everything. I'm always looking for the shortcut, the loophole, because why? I like to take action, 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 action. And why? Because rules and things don't accommodate all the people. I want it to fit all the people. So the rules were only made by some for some, not for all. So I'm always looking how I can change the rules. And then when you break down, all right, so the third card is where you break down. So if I'm under stress or I have too much overwhelm, and stress, by the way, doesn't mean like I'm flipping out and, having a temper tantrum. Stress just means there's too much going on. I get into knowledge. So not only knowledge of asking other people questions, but asking questions of myself. Am I doing the right thing? Am I making a decision? Should I do that? Should I do this? And it's where you're second guessing yourself. And then for myself, what I've learned is when I'm second guessing myself, how I process that is all of a sudden now everything has to be in order and have a place. So the mom who never had anything where it needed to be, all of a sudden must have a clean house. And now I'm freaking out the people that I love and say I care about, because now we must clean the house that we've never been cared about in 25 years, and now it must be done. And then all of a sudden these things have to be important. And what's interesting, as a publicist, what I love best is I get to know a lot of people. So I'm the one with the $15 billion Rolodex. I love people, and I get to take action. I get to call them and do things with them, and I love it. And then part of being a publicist is I have to ask people questions and figure out what they need, what they do, what they're doing, so I can do these things. And then I have to put them in order, because the other people, like the guests, want them that way. My least favorite thing. However, there are times where I actually really like this, because it lets these things happen faster and harder. So that's me in a nutshell.
That was beautiful.
Yeah, absolutely. And it doesn't matter where you are, but if you, for example, like myself, I'm very much like Michelle. And she kind of, we kind of went a little bit through my Link book assessment, and it shows that I'm very much a action taker and a nurturing, and then the other ones come later. But because of the shows I do, I have to, and I realize that people need structure when they come on a show. So I have to give them steps by step by step. Follow this, do that. And even, believe it or not, a lot of people don't do it. And they'll come on the show late, or they'll come 5 minutes late. And I've already ended my show, kids. I'm sorry, the show's over. So see you next time. Try again next time. And knowing where our strengths and weaknesses are is I think a key ingredient to how we show up as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Speaking of showing up, I need to leave to show up for something that has to do with this, with both of them. So I'm going to let them end the show, and I'll see you guys later.
See you later. So, Michelle, when we take it to the bank, it's not, I mean, don't get me wrong. I like going to the bank because I know that every time I go to the bank, I'm making more money. My efforts are paying off. But also the human efforts are the ones that we actually truly need to take to the bank, because that's how we leave legacy, I believe.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And the more money you make, the more that's a direct reflection of the people you're helping. And the other piece of that is this is all about making people matter. It's about truly connecting with the people that are across from you and understanding what's important to them. And I always tell people, if you're going to go to a foreign language or a foreign country, are you going to learn the language of the people, or are you going to expect them to adapt to you? It's out of respect that you learn the language. And that is exactly what this is. We all speak a completely different language. And out of respect to the other person, once you learn this, adapting to them and understanding how to communicate. Communication is so people understand each other. And the only way you can truly understand someone is if you crack the code and you understand their values and what's important to them.
Beautifully said. And by the way, Michelle and I actually are going to have to leave early, because we're going to go and be part of what Dr. Andrea went out to. And so we're ending the show a little bit early. And I think you may want to come.
I think so.
I think everybody listening or on the replay, and guess what? We're going to have an opportunity for you. So go ahead to bit.ly/Sifu code, crack your code, and then join us, because we have many amazing events coming up shortly. Michelle, what can I say? I am so thrilled that you were here, and this is not the only time you're going to be here. You're going to come on my other shows, and we're going to have a blast. Everybody, do me a favor, follow the show. Come and join us, and we look forward to seeing you soon, everybody. Take care.
Thank you so much for having me.
You got it. Bye-bye.
Bye.